So today I wanted to show you how I read cards. Cards are probably my favorite way to introduce people to spirituality. It offers immediate impact, insight, and clarity on people's journey. And like everything that I do, I'm a scientist at heart, so I still approach everything like a researcher. And for me, the level of accuracy and insight that I've been able to offer people using cards has been, I would say, 95% success rate. And the 5% I would say are either when I try to force a reading on someone that I cared about that wasn't interested already or receptive. So, one of the most important things in receiving spiritual guidance is receptiveness, a level of faith, openness, and curiosity. So, if you are in a frequency of or in a state of skepticism, it's not that effective. Another blockage is actually my own bias when it comes to people that I am more attached to in a codependent way rather than a sovereign, objective standpoint. I would say I've probably done at least 1,000 readings by now. Less than 5% of those readings have been less valuable. And I think obviously when I first started reading cards, my consciousness and my perception was limited. So over the years, as I've become more awakened and more spiritually intelligent, the readings have reflected my own wisdom. So whenever somebody reads for you, you are opening up to their level of consciousness and their frequency. So I often advise people to be really mindful and discerning about who they receive readings from. Just because you have spiritual gifts doesn't necessarily mean you're in a healed enough state to offer psychic insight to people that would support their highest timeline. If, for example, a reader has wounds with men who cheat, as a very common example, I've often seen readers then read the cards from that trauma wound, which is why I created a leadership program that is trauma informed. Trauma informed power is very important because if you're unaware of your leadership being affected by your own trauma, unprocessed trauma, you can misguide people. And I've certainly done that in my path. And I don't think it's necessarily possible to be free from trauma, but that's why we're continuously evolving as humans and we haven't quite ascended together in enlightenment. And so that's what I understand about reading and how I've perceived why sometimes readings don't resonate, or what are they reading into? And what are you subscribing to? What vibration of truth are you subscribing to when you are allowing someone to read for you? And I wanted to do a reading, just a fun one for conscious leaders. So I usually start with clearing the space energetically, clearing any clutter in my mind, and releasing any foreign energies that don't belong to me or the person I'm reading for. And this is actually going to be my first group reading. So I'm just going to tune into whoever is meant to see this reading today. And for me, I'm calling in conscious leaders, leaders who are on the path of expanding their consciousness. And the 3 archetypes that I specialize in supporting are visionaries, next gen leaders, and systems level change makers. So what message do these conscious leaders that are tuning into my reading today, what messages do they need to hear? Okay. And also another way that I try to retain the purity of a message is try to minimize what I project onto the reading or onto the messages. I think there's people who are very creative and imaginative, and I think that's a beautiful gift to have. For me, because I approach spiritual work from a psycho-spiritual research and science-oriented perspective, in order to retain the purity of the message and minimize projections so that the person I'm reading for receives the most clarity, I usually just read directly from the book. And then, based off of what people tell me that they resonate with, then I will share my reflections, or I'll paraphrase what I'm perceiving the person is trying to communicate. So the first card that came out is Chariot. Okay, and so I'm just going to read the card to you. And what I often suggest is I'm going to read the full description, and the way that you can tell whether what part of the message is for you is just to trust whatever you intuitively feel drawn to in the description, and then drop everything that doesn't resonate at all. So the message for you is based off of something that kind of like catches your attention. You're like, oh, wait, what? Or just something that feels like right for you, or you get the chills. That's usually what I recommend people to just go off of when I'm starting to train people on how to connect to their intuition. Okay, so the Chariot. The charioteer is the traveling warrior of the tarot. He holds a trident to guide him on his journey, and two seahorses carry him forward. He needs only one hand on the reins to control their direction. His willpower and determination propel him onward and keep his chariot moving in the right direction. In his seashell chariot, he is protected. The shell also symbolizes his personality, or the outer persona he shows to the world, meaning movement. It's time to make serious progress. Travel is favored now, as are moves connected with work. The card is also a general sign that every aspect of your life will surge forward. However, balance is necessary, so you may need to treat people around you with care, as this is a card of energy rather than sensitivity. The card reveals that good timing and being aware of your ego will be essential if you're to keep your show on the road. An additional meaning of the card is acquiring a new car or other vehicle. Advice: it's time actively to move forward with your plans. Keep that ego in check when you need to, and enjoy this time of power and motivation. Keywords: journeys, determination, willpower, progress, friction, guidance, and protection. And then usually during a session, I'll ask the person what landed for them, and then we'll just talk about what they're going through, and then I give them feedback based off of my understanding of the situation and what is needed to help resolve or take the next step towards clarity or peace. The next card that came out is King of Swords. So this man is clever and is often a strong leader in a professional career. He's a great strategist with charm and ambition, but can exert pressure too, as he's impatient to succeed. He can be relied upon to offer calm, logical judgment. An additional meaning is that legal issues need your attention just now. If this king comes up as the U card in a reading, take a logical approach. This is the time for mental agility rather than emotion. Advice: look to the facts before you make a decision. Keywords: fairness, balance, incisiveness, decisions, strength, justice, and support. And then the last card that came out is Seven of Cups. There are many choices available to you now, but which do you focus on? At this point, there are few facts to help you decide, only a raft of impressions. Danger lies in falling for a fantasy, as you have no sense yet of what is real and what you're idealizing, because it fires your imagination. In creative projects, you may be awash with ideas. An additional meaning is dreams and visions. Advice: rather than rush toward one option, stand back a while and wait to see what manifests. Keywords: fantasy, confusion, choices, dreams, imagination, vision, passion. And so that's the message for conscious leaders who are tuning into this reading right now. So what I would recommend is whatever you got intuitively out of it, don't try to just memorize everything that was said or hold on to every piece, but just the pieces that were like, I need to think about that. I know exactly what that's talking about. I know exactly what I need to be confronting or focusing on. It should feel like just a confirmation of what you already understand as true. And then sometimes people receive information differently. So sometimes The reason why I speak is because some people receive information through sound. Some people receive information better with imagery. So then I'll just kind of find out which one they prefer and ask them to perceive the information. So sometimes I'm like, okay, well, sometimes there's a lot of symbolism in the cards and you can find more insights from just looking at the cards. Yeah, so that's the reading. And then I pulled an oracle card. So that if you don't know the difference between tarot and oracle cards, tarot is, to me, I perceive tarot as like ancient psychology. It's 78 cards and it has 4 different suites. The cups is your emotional life. The swords is your mental space. The pentacles is your material world, your physical life. And the wands is your spiritual life. And so we all go through, the hero's journey. You start a journey and then you go through some trials and tribulations, and then there's an ending and it kind of starts over. And so tarot helps give you insight on where you are in that cycle of life, where you are in your journey, and supports you with moving into the next container. That's the structure of tarot cards. And then artists and creators have adapted them to their own perception or understanding or lens. So sometimes people change the suites themselves to different objects, and some people just shift the interpretation. I personally really like this deck because it's very practical. Some decks to me are very esoteric or very riddled with information and it's not always clear, but this deck is just very practical, makes it easy for people who are not familiar with spirituality or don't go that far into the depths of their psyche, but something that can offer tangible value right away. And so this is my favorite deck. And then I recently got this deck, the Resurrection Oracle, at Barnes & Noble. So found out that Barnes & Noble has an entire section of cards, which is very interesting to me. Anyways, I pulled this card, Your Ancestry. Sometimes we perceive information through visuals. Some people perceive it through sound or text. And so I usually make all 3 available to people. All right, your ancestry, it's all relative. Generations that have come before you, the people who formed your traditions, your structures, your foundations. These are your roots, paths, stories, and the very soul of your family tree. It is a good thing to remember them, sit in silence, and reconnect with them. There is a lost wisdom within them, a sort of deep familial magic. If you will, they are your family's myths and archetypes. Sometimes you can get so caught up in what is new and exciting, you forget all that came before you. Maybe you have a love of music, art, math, or some other natural gift, and you do not know where it came from. Chances are someone back in your ancestry was gifted in the same way you are. Give thanks for this and hold dear the traditions and roots that were created as if by magic by those who came before you. I got chills reading this. I've pulled this card for myself before, and it's a good reminder, especially when it comes to psycho-spiritual work. We're always looking to heal our patterns and our wounds. And so there's a lot of conversation on ancestral trauma. And my mom often likes to remind me about the ancestral blessings. And I think in the Western culture, while things are changing, Western culture was less connected to their ancestors than Eastern culture historically, but that's changing because we're realizing we're all interconnected. And let me just tune into if there's anything that I feel like I'm called to channel. I just keep hearing it's time, it's time, it's time. Yeah, it's time for you to step into your power, claim your position as leader. The world needs you. There's people who are waiting for you to step into your power. And if you feel like you want to go deeper with your path or you want more insights on your journey, I'm offering half off my card readings for Black Friday. So if you're sick of buying stuff, you're done with that and you want something that supports your spiritual journey, you can check out the link in my bio.